Recording in progress.
No worries.
Welcome to the special public meeting of May 22nd, 2023 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on April 20th, 2023, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, electronic message board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Sue, roll call.
Okay. Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilwoman Feeney. Here. Councilman Sears.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Velez.
Here.
Council President Morgan.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance, Mayor Calamari, Township Administrator DeCarlo. Yes. Township Attorney Poller,
Yes.
Township Clerk Witkowski. Also in attendance via Zoom, John Corcoran. In front of us here, we have Gary Vinci. Yes, okay, that's it. Okay. PSA for tonight, new community alert system. Receive community information instantly. Sign up at nixle.com. That's NIXLE.com. Tuesday, June 6th is primary election. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. We remind residents to please pick up after their pet. It is the law. Township Code 137-19. Scoop it, bag it, and put it in the trash. Cameras have been installed in our parks. As a friendly reminder, dumping of household waste in our parks' trash cans is in direct violation of Township Ordinance 373-89. Violators will be fined. Please keep our parks and neighborhood clean. The Green Team has scheduled their next cleanup project for Saturday, June 3rd at 9:30 a.m. at the Crossing Bridge off Cleveland Ave. This area is behind the Bethany Community Center. We will be doing some planting, mulching, and cleanup. Rakes and shovels are needed. If anyone is interested in volunteering or would like more information, please contact Councilman Sears. The Township Memorial Day Parade will be held on Monday, May 29th. The parade will start promptly at 10 a.m. and continue marching to the Memorial Monument where the ceremony will begin. To ensure the safety of all of our veterans, we are looking for extra convertible cars this year to help transport them individually for our Memorial Day Parade. If you can help, please email Councilwoman Daisy Velez at publicaffairs@twipofwashington.us. The Township of Washington Ambulance Corps is looking for volunteers. If you can volunteer, please call WTVAC headquarters at 201-664-3784. Leave a message and either President Bob Ehlers or Captain Trevor Landau will return your call. Township offices will be closed on Monday, May 29th in observance of Memorial Day. Our next council meeting will be held on Wednesday, June 7th at 7:30 p.m. We have no approval of minutes. I'm going to motion to suspend the order of the meeting right now to allow for the adoption of the budget. Motion to suspend?
Before the public, though?
So moved.
Well, public discussion, they'll have a public hearing. They can speak to the budget at the public hearing.
So what are you moving to?
I'm sorry.
We're moving just to speak to the budget and open it for that, and then we'll have a general public session after. Because we have the CMFO here, and the auditor, and everyone, all the other people who are here to make the meeting. I just, to make more use of the time, I feel like it's better to do this up front. Can I have a second?
Second.
Sue, roll call? Because
Councilman Casio?
This is just for the hearing or to adopt the budget itself?
no, this is just to.
The hearing
Yeah.
for the budget.
No, this is just to change the order that we're doing this. Does it have to?
We'll do the budget stuff now because Mr. Vinci needs to
Yeah,
be somewhere else.
sure.
He's got to be out of here at 7:15. So if you
Okay.
have questions,
Yes.
consider it.
The motion is just for us to change the order.
That's
of-
fine.
Suspend the rules.
Yeah,
That's
to
fine.
suspend the rules.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks for the clarification. Jim.
Yeah.
Sure. All
Okay.
right, so we had a motion by Councilman Sears, second by Councilwoman Velez, correct?
Correct.
Okay, roll call of Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay. So, we'll just start it, right?
Mr. Vinci, you ready to just go through, or do you want to explain anything first?
What I was going to
Explain first?
suggest for the order, that we can then start with the ordinances. So all the actions that pertain to the budget, you could just go in that sequence that is listed on the agenda.
Okay, so as listed on the agenda then. Okay.
Okay.
Skip. Second.
Okay. So ordinance number 23-05, calendar year 2023 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. Resolution number 23-234, authorizing second reading and opening a public hearing for ordinance 23-05. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Is there anybody that would like to come up? Yep, you can come up.
William Ferrara. I just wanted to ask that they explain in simple English, if it's possible, what the cap bank is, where we stand with it, and how it works. Thank you.
What the cap bank is, where we stand with it, and how it works, just in case that was a little low. Okay,
Is that mic on?
you can come up.
You want to come up here?
You can come to the, oh yeah, actually, you know what? If you could sit at the table, that'd be so much better. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Could you just tap the mic, see if it's on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the ordinance that's before the council tonight for adoption refers to a cap bank. There are two caps. You have a cap for the tax levy, and you also have a cap on spending. This ordinance deals with the cap bank for municipal appropriations or spending. The state allows you to increase last year's appropriations that are subject to the caps by 2.5%. By adopting this ordinance, you are actually allowed to add 1% more, which means you would have then increased your cap ability by $106,000 above what the state allows you. So the cap bank is needed, or the appropriations subject to the cap deal with all your department salaries, deal with pensions, mainly your operating expenses of the budget. So there have been costs that have increased substantially over the last year. And it's very important to at least provide the ability to bank this amount of money. It only lasts 2 years. If you do not use it in 2 years, it expires. So each year, the Township Council has adopted this ordinance as a matter of budgetary practices.
So I just want to remind you, Mr. Farrar, you have 5 minutes, or actually more than that, because it's not the public part. You can ask
So
a question.
Mr. DiCarlo gave me an answer to my question about the money, the group insurance money that was outside the cap.
Mhm.
So, and I understand that because there was an extraordinary increase in group insurance this year, the state allowed that expense, or a portion of that expense, to be put outside the cap. And the majority of it is still within the cap. Is that correct? I assume that's correct. I'm sorry, Mr. DiCarlo, that's correct. I'm sure you wouldn't give me bad information.
Yes.
So,
I'm sorry.
okay, it is. So I'm going to use a term known as a Mickey Mouse game. that's being played here in order to hide the fact that we, and not only us, all of the towns are exceeding these caps that were put in place 10 years ago. And it just, it really, to me, just is, as I said, it's a game. I mean, if you don't, if you have to spend more money than you can, then you're allowed to, you can spend more money than you're allowed to. The state will give you a permission to do that. So I just think that, yes, I think budgetary control is a better reason to stay within the cap than just having the state turn around and give us the ability to pass along the expense and create a cap for it. That's my concern about that.
Do you have anything to add to that?
The only thing I'll add for everybody's information is that last year was the first year that the state actually took action to amend the budget caps, predominantly because increases that were passed through state agencies, such as the state pension plan, such as the state health benefit plan, have been out of the control of local government. So the legislators decided that it was prudent for a cap-based adjustment to allow certain dollars to be excluded from the cap. And like I said, that action took place probably in the fall of 2022. It's the first year that the state has actually revisited the appropriation cap in many years.
Any other questions? No. Is there anyone online?
No one with a hand up, no.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Is there anyone else that would like to come up for this? No? Okay. Motion to close.
So moved. Second.
Okay. So roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 23-05 at second reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, budget resolutions. Resolution number 23-235, waiver the reading in full of the 2023 budget. Please note that a copy of the 2023 Township budget was posted on the Township website on April 25th, 2023, as noted in the advertisement placed in the Bergen Record and available at the Township of Washington Public Library and by contacting the Township Clerk during normal business hours. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
To roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, public hearing on the 2023 Township budget at 6:30 PM is advertised. Motion to open public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone that would like to come up regarding this township budget? Come on up.
I just had gone through the budget and a number of, William Ferrara, had gone through the budget and a number of items stood out. I wanted to question them and make a couple of comments. The one thing that stood out was, and actually I know this by looking at the bills that have been paid, there was $5,200 paid to Seasons for a Patty's Day party. Who attended the party?
I'm sorry, which party? I didn't
Fifty
get
two
that.
hundred
There
for
was a
St.
St.
Patty's
Patrick's Day party.
I can answer that, Desiree.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was for the senior citizens. It came out of the part of the budget that we allocate for them.
for the senior citizens.
Correct.
Right. And we're going to have, you have put a deposit for a holiday party, which I assume is for the employees,
That's also
at the
correct.
same venue.
That's also
This
correct.
is the owner of the three shacks on Pascack in Washington that have been condemned, that has not taken them down. I mean, and we're going to in business. I would suggest that possibly we might want to have a alternative place to have a venue, have a party, pretty holiday party, and might be as Fresh Grocer or some other merchant in town to cater it. You could do it next door. You could probably do it at the KFC. You could probably arrange with one of the schools or the community center to do it over there. Until he cleans up that property, I don't think we should be giving him any business. Okay, that's my point on that. On respect to the individual budget, I just have a concern. I looked at the budget for interest this year is going to more than double last year's expense based on the borrowing that we have to date. I don't see any indication of any borrowing other than for the road program and for an F-350 that covers such projects as anything that's going to be done at the swim club or anything that's going to be done with respect to the DPW building. So why isn't any of that money in the budget?
I can take a shot at that. I think, and I could be wrong, and Gary, if I'm saying anything wrong, please jump in if you know. We usually do the bond ordinance for all of the capital projects after the capital budget has been approved, which is part of tonight's proceedings.
Okay. So the 618,000, Peter, would be based on the existing debt that's outstanding now.
I don't have the number memorized, but if you say that's what it is.
Yeah, I just read it before I came over.
Saying yes.
yes.
We have
So any
confirmation.
additional spending that we do, bonding that we do this year will go on top of that number. So that number may be lower than it could be.
Go ahead, you
if we
can
had-
respond. Yes, thank you.
If I could just clarify, so the amount of money in the budget for the interest on bonds would be the interest on the current outstanding bonds that the township has. Should the township follow through with other capital projects this year and finance those projects by issuing notes or bonds, that debt service will kick in the following calendar year.
Right.
So right now, there are no outstanding notes that the township has. The only debt outstanding would be the long-term bonds.
So if we issued bond anticipation notes, would that also kick in next year or would it be this year?
It would be next year because the note is a one-year note. And if the note was issued, for example, August 1st, the interest would mature, then next August, that interest would be paid out of the 24 calendar budget.
Do you have any plans to bond anything this year? That's other than that's what's in the budget? I mean, you got a $5 million DPW building. I think most of that money has already been borrowed. I believe that $2 million was borrowed in part of the July 12th bonding because the first item on that, you showed the slide in the beginning.
Mhm.
The first item was to build a new DPW building and expand the old firehouse, which never was done. So that money should be available to fund it, plus the $1 million from the old school,
That's what I was going to
plus
follow up.
another 300,000 that was bonded that was part of the same ordinance. So you probably have to borrow, if it's a $5 million cost, you probably have to borrow somewhere between $1.5 million, not the full amount. It's, okay. With respect to the American Rescue Plan money, have we, there's in the budget, there's 220,000. Will that be the total amount that we're supposed to receive? I think we're supposed to receive something like 960,000.
There is extra money that still has not been appropriated. So after the money that has been utilized in this year's budget, I believe there's another 200,000 available for calendar year 24 or for capital projects.
But we've received the money, we just haven't
Yes,
spent it.
yes.
Okay, fine. When Chief Skinner was here, he had talked about $75,000 for squad car. And I don't see it in the budget. Was it dropped from the budget or what? I don't see any line item in the capital budget for it.
I think the cars come out of the operating
Right.
budget, not capital,
They don't come out of
because they
capital.
need them almost every year. So instead of
They
putting
put
the
it, so
capital.
we're going to get one. Will it be an electric vehicle?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Will it be an electric vehicle?
It will not. Electric
Yeah.
vehicles are not suited for police use yet.
Okay. All right.
Good
If I
idea.
could just jump in, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the price for the car is in the budget, it's accounted for in the budget, not the capital.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I believe, because Mr. DeCarlo, I could be wrong, but wasn't it they had asked for two, we gave one? Wasn't that what we did? Was that the one?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. It was originally 150,000 and it was reduced down to 75,000 for the purchasing and equipping of one vehicle.
Right. That's what I remember.
Okay. Okay. I'll bring up something else now. On the cap budget, you have the Ford F-350 for $135,000. That's what's in the budget.
For, what is that for?
The Ford F-350.
It's for the
For
DPW.
DPW,
yes,
135,000.
DPW. Okay.
Yesterday, I looked on, like, that number struck me. It's kind of high. I looked on and asked the question, what's the manufacturer's suggested retail price for Ford F-350 online? And they came up with a range, depending upon the model, from something like 48,000 to 94,000. So I don't know where the 135 came from, but if you'll go online,
That'd be great. Mr. DeCarlo is going to speak to
yes.
it. Mhm.
Sir, it's for the purchase of the vehicle as well as additional equipment such as a salter, plow,
Okay.
et cetera,
Okay.
et cetera.
All right, okay, thank you. I noticed also in the capital budget that there's no money in the budget for the street program for after 2023 in the capital budget.
Street as in, can you clarify street?
Hmm?
You said street, right?
The streets,
The resurfacing.
the street resurfacing
Oh,
of the street.
rotate the paving.
Road program.
Yeah,
road
okay, sorry.
paving. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I didn't know if you meant like the street sweeper or the.
No, I meant paving the road, yeah, road improvements. There's nothing in the capital budget for 24 and 25, it's only in 23.
I thought there was something around 24 proposed. I think we had a proposed.
Yeah, it was proposed, I thought, for 24,
There was,
right?
there's a,
Do you see it?
there's a proposed
I don't have it in
number.
front
We
of me.
don't
I brought the
see-
budget.
You have it.
You are correct. That's
Well,
probably,
maybe you should switch to Clark Field lighting and the Gardner Field lighting and call it the road program. So on those two lighting programs, has the Little League come forward and said that they need lights on those fields because they're basically the only ones who use those fields?
Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, in the 2 years, 24 and 25, we're not obligated to spend that, right? That's just a look ahead for what we might do in the future on the
For
capital?
yes, so the capital budget is really just a plan. It does not authorize any of those types of improvements. You can modify that capital budget anytime during the year. And most likely, there'll be other projects in 24, 25 that are not here that you will add to it. So it's just letting the residents know, here are some of the projects we have been discussing and possibly will be moving forward.
Okay. The one question I had, I saw the recycling fee was like $200,000 less than the prior year. Can you explain why? Is that real? I hope.
Mhm. The recycling fee, Mr.
Yeah, it
DeCarlo,
was
do you
like
remember?
236,000 versus 400 and something thousand last year.
I don't have it. I can try and pull it up, but most likely it's because we renamed certain budget lines.
Okay,
So they may have been consolidated into one budget line last year. And now we've separated them out. So just for clarity and organization and making payments in our
Mr.
payroll.
Okay, Mr. Corcoran, you confirm that? Do you remember that? Make
You're
sure
on mute.
you're on mute, yeah.
Sorry. No, I'm trying to look through the budget to see that. I don't remember offhand, to be honest.
I have the budget up in front of me, our admins, John. Ms. Farr, do you remember the exact name of the budget line that you were referring to?
it's called recycling fees. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Let's give me a second.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yep, no.
So I have, I'm looking at recycling paper and plastic curb fees, which is generally about the same amount. However, we were able to offset it up with some grant money, with recycling tonnage grants. So I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to.
Sounds
But we were able to bring it down to 144. And then we have recycling leaf disposal fees that we were also offsetting with clean communities.
Okay,
And then we have brush disposal fees, which is about the same as the previous year. And then recycling yard debris disposal fee, we did not fund for this year. And that's all the recycling line. So hopefully I answered your question, sir.
yes, thank you, yes. There was one item that on recycling, and that is the, excuse me, Tom, I lost the word. The recycling that we're gonna do that we're sharing with Ridgewood, they're gonna take our styrofoam. They're gonna get revenue for that. Are we gonna share in that revenue? Will they be giving us back a share? No, because, yeah.
They're supplying the service.
So he knows their budget.
Same thing like if we were to drop it down in Haskell, we never got anything from,
Okay, all right, okay. Yes, and the only other thing was with respect to the library roof. Is that going to be, they call it a white roof? Which basically it's actually white. They paint it white and it's used to help with energy consumption.
That I don't know. Does anyone know the details?
I've seen this.
Was that the library?
They started this in commercial buildings and I'm going, if you ever fly into Newark Airport, look out the window, you'll see all the white roofs over there.
Yeah, they're trying to, do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll certainly follow up to see. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they passed it in New York City, and now New York City's requiring white roofs because it doesn't generate the heat like a black roof does.
Right.
So it's a good point, and a lot of buildings are going that way, but you're right. I know my husband's an electrician, and when he's on the roofs, he noticed it's the white roof, so he asked the guy, he said, yeah, New York passed an ordinance to have white roofs.
I had heard about it, but then I was on a plane coming into Newark once to look out the window.
White
And all the
roofs.
white roofs.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
like amazing. So, okay, I think that's about it, except that I wanted to summarize my thoughts on it. I think there's a lot of expense that we've incurred with respect to the building, the firehouse and the DPW. And I think we really have to be careful about how far further we go, not only with expenses for capital projects, but also for our spending. It's great that the senior citizens and the employees get a holiday party, but I think we got to look at how much we're really going to spend. I mean, I noticed in the budget, I don't think there's any money in the budget for Town Day. I don't know. I didn't see it.
Oh, it is there.
Yeah.
It was 45,000 a couple of years ago. I don't know what it is now.
No,
But I didn't see any numbers standing out Town Day.
only 10.
10,
10 is
10,000.
what, a lot, 10,000,
10,000?
yes.
So we're
And
going
then
to
we
do it
rely-
with 10,000?
Well, we rely on our sponsors. We've been very lucky. Our sponsors have
All right.
come through the last few years.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I think I exceeded my time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come up? Okay, open it. Okay,
That was a good point, to have a white roof on.
yeah. Where was I? Okay. Okay. Motion to close public hearing on the 2023 township budget.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Resolution number 23-236, self-examination 2023 municipal budget. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Feeney,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sears,
Excuse me?
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
I said Councilwoman. I said Councilman.
Tom, don't go there.
Don't go there. Are you here?
Present.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes.
Move to that agenda.
Okay.
Moment for you, Tom.
2023 budget adoption, resolution number 23-237, adoption of the 2023 town budget. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A second from Councilman Sears. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
No.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Okay. And we are going to move back to the open public session. Hang on a second.
Councilwoman Sears.
Oh, mine had the same thing.
Okay, general public discussion. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. If by phone, *9 to raise hand, *6 to unmute. Each person wishing to address the council shall give his or her name for the record, and we ask only that one person speak at a time with a 5-minute limit. Speakers are to direct all questions to the council president. All members of the public and council are expected to conduct themselves in a proper manner. Any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted, and the council president will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate any further comments. Motion to open.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna get you
Thank
the
you.
name tag. I'm gonna get you the red one that all the people wear. That's
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Corcoran, before we get started, if you want, you can stay or you can go. That's up to you.
I'll stay, it's fine.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah, we did all in favor. Is there anybody that would like to come up? Come on, please. Anyone online?
Good evening, Mike Agnello. You don't need my address anymore.
No.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
First off, you notify me. First, I just like to thank the council. I mean, I've been an occupant of this meeting for the last 6 months. I know I've thrown a lot of stuff at you, and I just want to thank you for all the time and patience and allowing me to say crazy things and some things that make some sense. Mostly, I'd like to thank our zoning board for holding on and keeping our town at the level at which we like the standards to stay.
Can you speak more into the microphone?
Yes, so I would like to thank the zoning board. The zoning board did a lot. They stepped up and protected our town. Just a couple things I'd like to ask is, where do we go now? Where do we go with the ordinance, the zombie ordinance, as far as the properties are concerned? Can we get a report back from the town on the plan of those homes? Those homes are vacant, they're inhabitable, they're dangerous because the first house is only 10 feet off of the main road. I don't think anybody can live there. I don't know, I guess he has the option to fix them up and do what he wants with them. But if not, I think it's somebody has to let us know what the town's plan is. I don't think the property should remain for another 12 years. So if we can get a report back maybe by next meeting, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Council President, I can give you that report tonight.
Wow. That would be great.
How's that, Mr. Agnello? Good, huh?
Mr. DiCarlo, you're the best administrator I've ever met. And now if I could ask, I don't know if you were on the board, watching the zoning board over the last couple of months, but our town planner, I don't know if he's hired by you or if he's somebody from the outside, but things need to be looked into. I mean, there was one point in a meeting where he actually told the zoning board that if the applicant meets the certain requirements, they must approve. And it wasn't true. It was a totally false statement. I don't know where he gets his information from, but I think that the council needs to look into who our town planner is. And one last thing before I sit down. The zoning board attorney, I think if the applicant appeals, we send an attorney to represent the town on our behalf. Mr. Whitaker, who represents the applicant, is in nowhere can our zoning board attorney come up to him. It looked like anything Mr. Whitaker said, our zoning board attorney went with. He has no power over this guy. I think you need to consider possibly looking into having another attorney represent this town at appeal, because if not, the zoning board's work, I think, is just going to go to the wayside with this attorney. But that's for you folks to decide. You can look at the minutes of the meetings and just see that everything that was said by the applicant's attorney was agreed upon by the zoning board's attorney. He showed no strength in the meetings. And down at Hackensack, he's going to get eaten up very simply by this attorney. So if you could just consider the possibility of looking into another attorney, that would be great. Thank you.
Mr. DeCarlo, can you update us?
Yes, the owner of that property was issued summonses, and the court date is June 1st.
Great.
Desiree, is Ken still on, who can maybe answer?
Sure. Mr. Pollard, are you still on?
I am.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Do you want to answer, Ken, about the zoning board attorney representing the town if it gets appealed?
Well, normally the zoning board attorney does represent the board, and defends the resolutions or action that was taken. And it's actually their choice, not ours, as to who that attorney is. He is the board attorney. If the board decided that they felt that they needed somebody else, they could do that. But it's not something that the council could really get involved in.
And Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, I was looking to associate it with when the vape shop sued and the GIF then represented us. Would that happen in this case or not necessarily?
No, the GIF got involved because that was a suit involving damages, which the GIF does cover. Approvals is not something a GIF gets involved in. That's
Okay, thank you.
really not within the purview of the GIF.
Thank you.
Council President, may I ask Ken?
Yes.
Ken, it's Tom. Just to go back on your first question. The zoning board has the right, or they have the authority to go to seek a stronger attorney to defend the town. Is that correct?
Well, I don't want to say that they have the right. I mean, I will tell you, I've not seen it happen before. They chose what I'm saying is they have the right to choose who represents the board in terms of the board functioning and in terms of defending the action of the board. Now, if the zoning board, for some reason, on its own, decided that, for whatever reason, expertise, experience, whatever it is, that they felt that they would like to designate somebody else, I believe they would have the authority to do that. But I don't want to say that that's something that I've seen before or it's automatic or anything of the kind. So that's kind of.
Well, we are dealing with an extraordinary situation here. So I would advise Mr. Agnello to go to the zoning board and seek their guidance on hiring a firm or a professional, not a professional, but attorney that would deal strictly in this situation. Thank you, Ken.
Okay.
Ms. Morgan, I have a question.
I have a question. So, Mr. Pollard, so if the applicant, if the applicant would seek damages in this, would then the GIF pick it up?
No, this is not a case for damages.
Okay,
This is clearly an approval process.
okay,
The vape shop was because we did not allow a tenant to be in there.
okay.
There was a lost lease and it clearly was dollars. This has nothing to do with that. And in fact, the GIF has declined, and rightfully so, even certain cases where most of it is an approval issue and maybe tangentially a small amount of damages, but even there they've declined to do it. This one is very clear. The GIF would not get involved.
So one more question. There was a resident that reached out, and I think I gave them the right information, but I also directed them to the building department. Now, somebody said because the setback for the intersection has now changed, we had an agreement with the owner of the property, not eminent domain, but because the houses are now so close to the road and they don't meet the setback requirements, but those houses are grandfathered in because they were there first. Do we know if that's correct?
I really don't want to get involved in talking about that now, because those are going to be issues that are going to come up about those houses. And I don't think that it's my place at this point to start, making determinations or even taking positions on those issues right yet. I think it has to take its course.
there are violations. The zoning officer has authority to do certain things. The building department has authority to do certain things. So I want to leave it just in that vein.
Okay, if Mr. Jacarlo, maybe you could just look into that for me, make sure I provided the right information to the resident.
Yes.
Thank you.
This morning,
Yes.
I have a question, Mr. DeCarlo. When were those citations issued?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but we're looking at probably a month ago or so.
Okay. So a month ago, they were issued that we know of,
It's a court date.
even though they were in violation for numerous months. Correct?
The owners were given, there was multiple houses, just not the houses at the intersection there that we're discussing this evening.
I'm discussing the ones at the intersection.
Yes. So there was other violations in town. There was a total of 7 of them. They ran the proper course through code official. They were given first notice, final notice, and when they did not, they were everyone was initially given a month due to the extent of it. We weren't talking about mowing lawn or trimming bushes. We were talking about the overall condition of people's houses. So we felt it. All 7 people, not just the people at the intersection, were given the extension. If they didn't comply, they were given a final notice. And then I think a total of 7 people were issued summonses. So after they were issued, I did not stay on top of what the next court date was. I'm not sure if this was an adjournment. Like I can tell you, they're on the schedule for June 1st.
Sure. All right, we have another question for you, Mr. Fowler.
If I could ask the town attorney, which I've been asking around town,
Please,
my name,
your name.
Michael Agnello.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I've been asking around to a lot of people. Nobody seems to really know the answer. If the zoning board makes a decision on a piece of property, and there is nothing that says that that piece of property had to be turned over to a commercial piece of property or land use variance. There's nothing that says it. It just says that it may be used in the future for something along these lines. I'm just trying to ask, what can be the appeal? How can somebody appeal to a county, go to court with the county? The county could possibly make a decision to say, overrule the zoning board's decision and direct the Township of Washington to build a shopping center. Is that possible? I just don't understand how that works if the zoning board did everything they're supposed to do.
It doesn't happen that way. The appeal generally is a court reviews whether the board acted arbitrary and capriciously, and looks at the record of what was presented and the actions of the board itself. Now, normally, there's, and I'm not talking about this application because I wasn't there, I'm not part of it, but, there's usually differing opinions and differing testimony and concerns and whatever, and the zoning board usually goes through that and gives some reasons as to what their considerations were, and ultimately makes a decision. And the court reviews everything and sees whether the board acted arbitrarily, capriciously, unreasonably. I mean, there are standards here. If the court finds that the board did act capriciously, arbitrarily, the court generally will remand the case back to the board to reconsider it, as opposed to the court generally, I'm not saying all the time, generally doesn't take the action of saying that the application's approved. What they normally would do would be remanded back. But again, that's, that's the process. That's just knowing the process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Motion to close public discussion?
So moved.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it came out. Sorry about that.
William Ferrara. I wanted to bring up something. I I brought this up twice in the past. Approximately a year ago, I attended a game with my grandsons down in Sherry Field on the East Field. I sat in the new stands, and in order to get down from the stands, because there is no step at the bottom of the first step, like halfway up, you step from the seat down to the ground. That's an 18-inch drop. So it was fine for the front knee. The rear knee, I really got pain. And they're both artificial. And I brought this up about maybe putting a step in there, but nothing's happened. I was down for another game last week, and one of the old stands is still there. But what they did for some reason, they pulled off the seat. And basically the base becomes a step. So I don't know whether they can look at taking that first seat off and make it a step so it makes it easier to step down. It's just a suggestion. I don't know whether they can do it or not, or some other way. The second thing, I was down there, they had used the ADA money to put down a concrete pathway from the east field to the west field and on both fields. I don't know how long that is. It's less than a year old, and it's cracking up already, the number of spots. So I think they should either get the contractor back or whatever, look at it just to see, what can be done about that. And then I had a final suggestion. This has to do with Clark Field. Behind right field fence, they have a pile of dirt that they use to spread on the infield whenever they need it. But what happens when it rains like yesterday or any extended rainstorms, the dirt gets spread all over, becomes mud and spread. And sometimes when it's really bad, it's spread actually down into the street. So my suggestion was that they construct a structure, a three-sided structure about the height of the table, that they can put the dirt in the structure and take it out when you need it so it doesn't spread all over. It's just a simple, suggestion. That's it for tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. We can definitely share.
I can answer some of his concerns if you'd like.
That'd be great.
I'll speak to DPW superintendent about the bleachers. It's the first I'm hearing of that. Second, I think it was a topic we had discussed before about the sidewalks. If not, it wasn't a performance deficiency on part of the contractor. Unfortunately, the sidewalk was driven on. Its width gave the impression that it should be driven on. However, it wasn't designed to withstand that impact. So our DPW is going to fix it, and we also installed a bollard at the beginning of the pass so it can't happen again. So it wasn't the contractor's fault.
Thank you. And Mr. Farrar's idea about the almost like a container-ish built in for the dirt so that it doesn't go all over the place. Can we convey that to the DPW and recommend it?
Yes, I will speak with him. Yep.
And I have even a simpler solution, maybe until we can do that. Maybe they can just get a tarp and cover the clay so when the rain comes down, it doesn't.
It usually is covered, Mr. Mayor. For some reason, I didn't see
I haven't
the
been there
cover.
for a while.
There's a top there that, Tom, you're not entirely right. Sometimes it's covered, sometimes it isn't. It all depends upon who's over there.
Right.
I just wanted to say that Mr. DeCarlo wasn't with us the last time I brought this up, so he was not involved in it.
Thank you. All right. Is there anything else anybody would like? Is there a hand? I see a hand up now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Who's that?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Diane Grimaldi.
Hi, Mrs. Grimaldi.
Hello. I was just wondering if the township has sold the landlocked property for the high-density housing on Viviano property yet?
No.
Okay. That's my only question. Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
You too.
Another hand? No?
The answer is no.
Okay. Okay, motion to close public comment?
moved.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the next regular meeting for the Township Council will be on Wednesday, June 7th, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Sign up for e-alerts and Swift 911 notifications at www.twipofwashington.us. Have a good night.
Okay, good night.
Motion to close, I'm sorry.
I thought I said that. Yeah, we can do it. I didn't do it down here. I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That, ready.
Yep, we close public.